I'm going to start the day off today with a new knotted wheel wire brush. We've got our section here to put that panel in, and a piece down here at the bottom. I was reviewing these videos and they're awfully jerky, so I'm going to try to take a little more time and make these smoother for you guys. Just a little interesting thing here. I'm holding this with my foot, and the brush jumped. You can see what it took out of my shoe. That's a pretty serious grinder, so it's a good idea to wear steel-toe shoes around stuff like this, or be really careful, or both. I just shot it, cleaned it up, shot it pretty good here on the inside with rust primer. The outside I haven't really messed with. I'm going to be doing some welding on this. I'm not really concerned about that. Got to cut up this end here, trim it up a little bit, get that brass off, and then we'll start tacking this thing into here. See what happens. Well, the way this piece was in originally, it was in here like this. They had it coming up from the bottom with a little edge that was sticking out there, and I think this will be much stronger. It looks like it'll be stronger on the bottom, and then I can bend an angle on it so I don't have this big lip inside of here. I can just weld it right along this seam here, and see if this will work out. I'm gonna have to cut some of this brass off of this end here so I can have something good to weld to. Well, I don't have a sheet metal brake, so what I did was just score a line on this to where the bend is. I'm just kind of starting it here with a pair of vice grips, getting the angle started, and then I can play it on something straight, take a hammer to this little edge here and bend a nice kink into it. Again, this is not really all that critical. Straight edge will kind of hammer this out. This is just to get it started here. Guess I should buy a sheet metal brake, but there's not that much sheet metal work that I normally do on these things. The metal I use is usually quite a bit heavier, and that's not worth the expense at the time. Maybe I should go buy one. Well, I beat me an angle on this here. It's about right, and it's pretty close here in the back. Try to remember to keep this thing slow, and now I'll just clamp this in and start tacking it up. Just tack this front part here, and you can see here that the back is not quite straight, so I'll hold that in where it's supposed to go and clamp it and tack this, and then I can start welding the rest of it. What I'm doing is just using a welding clamp, and I'll move it about an inch at a time and clamp it down and weld it. Maybe I can get you a video of this. Now let's... Roll camera taking a beat. So I just move it over about an inch. I've already kind of cleaned it up. Every time I clamp it here, it's making the sheet metal flat. Then we just tack it down. Again, we're not really worried about pretty. Just getting it flat here in the back so it can stay and give it some strength. And then later, the bondle will start holding all of this stuff together. Got it all tacked in good here. It's seriously strong. It's not wiggling at all. Just a little bit maybe here in the back. But what I'll do is I'll manage to shove some Bondo back in this area here, and that'll make that whole thing just one big solid piece. So that's all I'm doing here. I'll just go ahead and finish this piece. I ground this area up, cleaned it pretty good. Back here in the back, it's pretty funky. Even the wire brush was collapsing all of that rotted out tin in there, so I just kind of cleaned it up best I could, beat it in. That'll all get covered with Bondo, so that'll strengthen it and protect it at the same time. And then I started working on this door here a little bit since I had the brush going. Started cleaning it up a little. That's what I do. I try to use the same tool and just extend the area onto the next place. Ground down my welds here. Little tip for you new rod builders: a lot of times you'll look at things and say, oh well, that's not going to be much difference. But right now I know that this door, you're not going to see it when it's closed. But when it's open, this is going to be the showpiece. This is a perfectly flat piece of steel, and if this piece here is flawless and perfectly shiny and looks really good, just you have a big old dent back here, won't make any difference because this piece looks good. But if this piece up here, you got a perfectly beautiful body with, you know, 17 different kind of pearls on it and everything else, you open the door and you can see weld tracks in here, the whole car is junk. So it's a little attention to details that once you've built one or two of these things, you know what you're going to see once it's done. And once it's all put together, it's too late to start regrinding and repainting.